Welcome to I Heart Geek.
No!
Oh, and welcome to I Heart Geek. So, just to let you guys in on some of the behind the scenes magic. Normally, we record these a couple of days after we watch Moon Knight, and this is the last episode of Moon Knight, just so y'all know. But because we have a movie coming out this weekend,
In case you didn't know,
there's a big movie coming out this weekend, so we all wanted to try to get this done today. It's Tron the 6th.
So
chapter.
WandaVision season 2 is coming out this weekend.
basically.
But we're gonna stay away from that because we're gonna do an episode on that probably next week.
Yeah.
So you get what you're hearing today is our first pass at when we usually do this, where we talk about it for 3 days before we actually record, pretty much nonstop. So you guys get to hear the first conversation. I'm Dub. I'm here with Courtney. We're here with Tyler. We're here with Kevin. Woo!
Oh, and may the 4th be with you, listeners.
May the 4th be with you.
If you are listening to this right when I put it out, it's May the 4th. Otherwise, it's May the 5th. And
yeah, you'll survive.
It doesn't mean anything.
Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah, that's
isn't it Revenge of the 6th?
Yes, it should.
What do we do for the 6th? Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
That has nothing to do with what we need to talk about.
No.
So,
sorry.
Okay, let's not dig into it yet, but let me ask everybody this question real quick. Your initial response to the finale of Moon Knight. Let's start with Tyler.
Yes. I'm glad the way they wrapped it up. I'm glad the way that they wrapped it up the way they did. I really enjoyed it. I did.
Okay.
A couple little things I could pull out of it that were kind of, negatives, but and I think we're all mostly on agreement with those, but yeah, dude, I loved it.
Okay. So let me do mine. It felt disappointing for whatever reason. It wasn't a bad episode. It just didn't feel good enough for everything the show's given us. It just didn't feel good enough. I'm not saying it was bad. It just didn't feel enough. And there's some other things we'll talk about as we go on. Some of the reasons why. However, thank you God they didn't do that stupid theory with the TV thing.
I thought it was coming. I was so scared.
Would have.
You mean you missed the post credit scene?
Right. Dirty pie hole. Kevin, what about you, bud?
Okay, here's the thing about Moon Knight. I love this show. 5 episodes have been absolutely exquisite. I've been in it. I've been waiting for it. It's been so good. I was in this last episode about 3/4 of the way. I was in it, and this was a great episode until it wasn't. And at that last part, completely lost it. It pulled me out of it, and I was like, "Oh, this is what we're doing." Oh, so I was let down. I was let down quite a bit. It was a great episode until it wasn't.
Yeah. And that's not saying it was bad. So I don't want anybody coming out. No, we're not hating on it, but there was just, for some of us, it just left
I'm the most positive person here usually. I'm the A+ guy. And this
yeah. Courtney, let's hear your little ray of sunshine.
I'm going to go hang out with my buddy Tyler on this episode was awesome side of the podcast.
It's just because of the Wonder Woman reference.
We are 50-50, and you're going to get beat to hell the next time I see you. Yeah. We are clearly split 50-50 onto this, which I dig. But yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things that I went, but there were other things that I just absolutely loved.
I wouldn't say we're split because nobody hated it and nobody.
No, I mean it's just we love this. This was amazing, and then we enjoyed it, but it's not what we wanted. I mean, and I think maybe that's a good way to look at it. I don't think it's what either you or Kevin wanted.
Well, it was exactly. They did.
That's how it works.
What they said they were going to do. They
tied it up in a neat little bow.
In a nice, pretty little bow. And then they went
but see, the thing is,
went away and said, this is not part of the MCU. This is its own standalone comic.
But
it does nothing for anything.
But I would argue
I'm okay with it.
I would argue that the end credit scene shoots a hole in that theory 100%.
But we've already seen that. We've already seen this season. We watched an entire season of Mark Spector figuring out what his other personality. Now we got to do it again?
No, that's your assumption that that's what it would be. Because now
we're not going to get a season 2, you know it.
A whole new adventure. So, I mean, I think we're going to see more Moon Knight, whether we get a show or he just pops in and out throughout the MCU.
Well, he's
definitely not going anywhere.
Here's what this episode did right. This gave us more Moon Knight than we've had in all the other episodes put together, and I was all about it. I was for it. I thought it was awesome. I love those fight scenes.
Oh, the fight scene was great. It was fantastic. Switching between. Oh, so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, the switching was very cool. And then not only that, we get Layla and Moon Knight fighting Haro, but at the same time,
who do we get fighting
Wonder Woman?
We get
Wonder Woman.
Scarlet Scarab.
The Scarlet Scarab. Tyler and listeners, you all know that Deb is like a dog with a bone. Now that he said this, he's never going to shut up about it ever because he doesn't know how to do that.
Be honest, listen, did anybody?
If that's the MCU's Wonder Woman,
what else? How else are you going to make her costume?
Well, just because you can't beat DC, it's okay.
I didn't. Nobody wants to be live action
DC movies that they've had? Are you talking about those?
Better than any DC.
Wonder Woman is a fantastic character, and it's a good place to draw inspiration. I'll just leave it at that. How's that?
They're not even remotely close, but okay. Just because she has her golden outfit, the similar golden outfit. Let's be honest. Almost all of the comic books movies, whether they be DC or whether they be Marvel, all their costumes look the same. So if we're going to base that means everybody looks the same. Because there is very little distinction, with the exception of things like Iron Man, where it's a big old metal suit.
Today it is Rabbit Trail Day. We're just going
right.
Okay, so now this might be controversial.
What I was gonna say is not only did we get that fight between the three of them in the background, we also get gigantic Amit and gigantic
Kaiju
beating the snot out of each other in front of.
It was amazing.
I love that.
The Great Pyramid of Giza. That was so cool.
Kaiju alert.
I had 2 Egyptian people on the streets and pointing up and speaking Egyptian or something. That would have made this episode great.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so while I thought that was fantastic, at the same time, the same fight scene, I might be alone on this. I don't know. I haven't really gotten your guys' opinion on this, but they had this great fight scene, and then just when the odds are stacked against Moon Knight and he's about to die, they flash away, and we miss 10 minutes of them. Probably what would be the best fight, just gone. Like, oh, well, that was Jake.
I can understand that, right?
That bothered me a lot.
As much as I loved everything, that one I was like, hey, I wanted to see that. You know,
I would have liked to have seen it. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen it.
Hurt Kevin's feeling.
I think I can understand why they did it, but I would have liked to have seen it too.
I said this a couple weeks ago. Is that so we have Steven has his own Moon Knight suit, Mark Spector, so we're going to have Jake have his own Moon Knight suit. And, there's Moon Knight 2099, there's Dark Moon Knight, there's all these different costumes I've been looking into. And his costume changed because Layla said, what was that? And then you never hear what was that. Like, they don't talk about it later, they don't do anything.
There's a dramatic pause where they look at each other, and then they're like, oh, yeah, there's 2 giant kaiju fighting. Crap, we should probably go address that,
Well, it's like, his costume changed. What is it?
Yeah. I can understand why they did it.
I get it, but I don't think
the way they
did
it. I'm going to run with it because I understand why they did it. Would I have liked to see the fight? Yeah. But I'm not going to complain because we got a really good fight, and then we got Godzilla versus Mothra. So
I agree with that. I thought that I love seeing Ahmet. I thought that was awesome looking. The crocodile, all that. I thought that was really cool. Another problem I think that I've been thinking about this all day. I'm like, what was it that bothered me about this? And more than anything else, anything that we just talked about, and I want to know what you guys think about that, was the scene that it goes to after. Okay, so it's all done. We're back in the asylum. But we're not really in the asylum, but we're really in the asylum. But we're not really. And I think that's going to be... I get what was going on, but I think the average viewer, that's not the note you want to leave the show on. And I think that's what bothered me.
Back in his head.
Well, I'm just going to say right now, if you got what was going on, explain it to everybody.
What do I think was going on?
Yeah, explain it to everybody.
I think that... I feel like the asylum might have been on like a different plane of existence, and he was going back and forth, and that's why he's able to go back and forth, and that's the only reason why. That's why the blood happened and all that, because it's real, but it's not. And I thought it was confusing for people.
I think
I understood it, but I was confused.
Well, and like I think that's what... Here's another fun thing about the show is I think that's a great way to look at it. That is not how I looked at it, though.
That's not how I looked at it.
So what's cool about it? Yeah, it's cool about it. It seems that we all have different kind of theories of what that was, and that's another very cool aspect about this show. Like for me, the asylum is in the mind, and it's not the real world. And seeing the blood on the floor, that's what tipped Mark and Steven off that's not the real world.
Yeah.
Because of the glass in Harrow's shoe. And if you go back and listen to, you actually can hear the glass crunch as he
all the
walks
time whenever
back
he
to
walks
his
yeah.
desk. But I mean, especially when he's the doctor, because you don't hear it when he's the doctor, but you do in this last scene. And but that's how I viewed it all.
Okay.
So I mean, it's really interesting to see the two different takes of it. And Kevin, you said yours was different too.
Well, it's a little bit like yours. It's him processing everything. Just like whenever he died, he kept on going back to the asylum. It was him figuring what's going on out. So he's asleep, and he's like, hey, what's real? What's not? Wait a second. We're real. And just as Tyler was really wanting a We Are Moon Knight moment, that was it. It's like, wait a second. No. Steven and Mark, we are real. And then he came out of it like it was him coming into his own at that point.
Mm-hmm. That's fun. Everybody's got a different view. Tyler, what did you?
It was along those lines.
Think.
It was, he Khonshu left him, and he kind of checks out for a minute, and that's in his head, and he's just kind of reconciling everything. He's kind of piecing all the pieces together, and the footsteps were kind of him drawing something in from the outside, like we just kicked the crap out of Harrow and stuff, maybe that was kind of like the representation there with the bloody feet. But yeah, just kind of him saying, all right, yep, we got to go back.
What other thing was I don't know if this was done on purpose or not, but on that last scene, whenever Mark was talking, that wasn't Mark's accent. That was a heavy Hispanic accent.
When he leaned in?
Yeah.
When he leaned in, yeah, I was like,
that did not sound like Mark.
There was a moment.
Very good about splitting it.
There was a moment where it was not Mark, because I watched it with the captions on, and there's a moment where it says as Steven, as Mark, and then he just talks, and it doesn't say who it is. But it's not there. I don't know if that was what you mean by Hispanic. Well, I don't know what you mean by Hispanic accent, because he didn't really have one of those. He had that Brooklyn. He had that Brooklyn accent again.
He did later.
He did
later. He had the
said Spanish word.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about that last part too? I was just thinking about this as we're talking about it. Is when he woke up from his dream and he got up, he was shackled again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he shackled himself. So
and there was
almost like he doesn't want to know about Jake. It's almost like part of him knows that Jake's going on, that he's still attached to Khonshu, but hey, we can live in our own little world right now while this is going on. Look, see, we're still shackled.
Kind of a cool way to look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to speak on the whole shackle thing too. Is I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it on the show or in private more, but how the whole first episode foreshadowed everything, and I'm like, man, how is the first episode foreshadow, going to be leading us into like the 6th episode? And of course, the shackles obviously make sense. He wakes up in the bed, the sand, all that. It's like, here we are again. But then also, look at the fish tank. If you look real closely at the fish tank, not just two sarcophaguses, okay? I'm not going to let that die.
Sarcophagi.
I don't know. Maybe it would be sarcophagus.
Not just the 2 fish, which I clapped for when I watched the episode. I was happy to see. But
so
the Pyramid of Giza is in there. Khonshu's temple is in there. The Gates of Osiris are in there. The ship that they sail on Duat is in there. It's all in there.
Oh, is it?
Really?
I know the pyramid was there.
I need to do another watch.
I didn't know. I didn't notice if the other stuff was there, but I knew the pyramid was in there.
Tank. It's just wild. There's always been something from the first episode that connects to the next, if not a couple things. It's been pretty wild. And since I don't want to wait till the very end of the episode, there is a QR code.
Where?
Oh, is there? Where was it?
In the mid-credit scene, when somebody's pushing somebody else down the hallway.
We could say it.
There is a QR code.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that.
Here's the fun part.
What's it go to?
Kevin, you're going to like this. You're going to like this. The QR code, when you scan it, if you can get it to scan, it's at a terrible angle. But it goes to Moon Knight Annual number 1, where a bunch of variants of Moon Knight fight Kang.
Little something for what's going on next.
Slip a little something in there,
Very interesting. Oh, that's another thing is I was thinking that they were gonna. Speaking of Kang, is whenever Ahmet, she's like, my old avatar was perfectly balanced, and at that point when she was talking about her old avatar, and that the old avatar is the one that put her in stone, I thought she was gonna mention, and he wasn't. He was actually Ramatut or something like that. Like he was gonna.
Oh yeah.
She was gonna mention that it wasn't actually. I'm trying to think of the guy.
Alexander.
It's Alexander the Great. Yeah, Alexander the Great was supposedly her last.
Maybe.
The math. Yeah, the math doesn't work because she said she's encased in stone for 2,000 years, and ancient Egypt and all of that stuff is roughly 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Might be going to some other places that we're not going to go to on that one. Okay, so let's hit the end credit scene real quick because I think that everyone wants to talk about that. I know this one I loved, but at the same time I was like, okay, so I'm watching The Godfather. Cool. And even felt like the music even felt like The Godfather. I'm like, okay. I always loved you, Frodo. I mean, that's it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it and I like seeing, but I felt like it was too little too late. I was like, okay, great. You showed me Jake.
Okay. So
we had a feeling.
If any of you listeners out there who had not watched the episode, you should have turned back from the point of no return now because we just told you who was in the car.
Listen, if you're this far into it, we're talking about everything.
We've hit every spoiler already. Give me a break.
Check the car.
Then Wanda showed up.
Deadpool was there.
That would have made me.
Yes.
Wanda
made
showed up.
Because it would have connected and not have been a one-off comic, but
and no Defenders.
I'm sure at some point in time. I'm almost sad we didn't get any Defenders. Boo.
No, but I think
it's okay.
I'm right along with Doug. Like I enjoyed. I'm kind of being negative Nancy here, but I enjoyed the end credit scene. But just right along with Duff said, it was just too little, too late for me. Whenever. When the blip, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I know he's there, but then it was cool. I like how they did it. I'm like very interested in the Jake Lockley character, but
one blip too many.
Yeah,
one shutter too many.
It was. It's too late because like we're not going.
One shutter too many.
I think I understand why they did it the way they did it, and that's because they had to give us Jake. Well, sorry, they didn't have to give us anything, but they had to give us Jake in the manner that they did because they teased him for all 6 episodes, and there was no way that they could just in that final fight just make him appear because everybody would have gone, what the hell? So they had to kind of keep him a secret a little bit longer. Do I think they should have given him to us by name earlier on? Yeah.
Episode 5, we should have had him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel like they should have opened the sarcophagus.
Yeah,
because
it should have been
and then he could have run off.
4 or 5.
And he could have run off.
Right, like I could have.
Then that wouldn't fit the ending. The way they
and
what
so
they showed us with
Khonshu,
that wouldn't have fit.
Yeah,
wouldn't work.
I think I understand why they did what they did. But they've also, because of doing it the way that they've done it, they've opened it up to another season if they want. Or they've opened up to being able to throw Moon Knight into any MCU property that they want to bring him in cameo-wise in. Because, yes, Mark and Steven have been, quote-unquote, released from Khonshu, but they really aren't.
So
yeah, Jake isn't, and they really aren't.
Which was a sly move.
Is you mentioned about other properties? Is this all of a sudden we find Moon Knight and Jake Lockley in the property, and let's say I'm just gonna throw it out there. They're on Planet Hulk, right? So they're on the whole, with on a different planet. Moon Knight's fighting somebody, and all of a sudden Mark Spector blips in. He was like, "What the heck? Where am I at?" And then that's where you now you brought Steven in and Mark into something different. It would be interesting.
Jake can switch in and out just like Mark and Steven do now on. So yeah, they could bring him in anytime they wanted now. So I mean, it was a smart way of doing it.
Can we give Oscar Isaac all the props in the world? We're here talking about 3 different characters that are the exact same person, like they're different people.
Played 100% different.
No cutscenes this time. He switched on camera multiple times.
So good.
Like that was wild. You could just see it drain from his face, and now he's a whole new person.
Oh.
Yeah, the body language changes, everything changes when he's switching back and forth. And what's interesting is like in the fight scene, he's all covered up because of either the Mr. Knight costume or the Moon Knight costume. Like we don't see his face, we only see the movements of his body, and we know some of it is CGI, but you see there's a very big difference in the way he handles himself when he's being Steven or when he's being Mark or when he's being Jake.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just let's talk about some severely good acting by Oscar Isaac.
With that being said, let's do this. We're going to give 2 grades today. We're going to give a grade for the series. Actually, we're going to give a grade for this episode, and we're going to give a grade for the series. For me, they're 2 entirely different things.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what Courtney's grades are for the series and for the episode.
You want the episode first or the series first?
Episode first.
Episode first, I'm going to go with B+.
Okay.
Series, I'm going with an A. Solid A. This is probably, we all know that Courtney's favorite show thus far of the Marvels has been WandaVision. This is probably my second favorite.
This is right up there with them for me.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler.
All right.
What's your grade, sir?
Yeah.
Hi.
No, the series, I'm definitely going to give it. I think I'm going to follow in the same line. It's going to be, we're on the same page today, Courtney.
We really are. It's weird.
Solid A for the series. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. For this episode, just because of a couple things, I think, yet again, another episode. 1, 2 more episodes. We could have done some things. That's becoming a thing. I don't know if restricting themselves to 6 is working or not, but
even sometimes we get a lot of fluffer episodes. We didn't get one in this episode.
Yeah,
we really didn't get any. We really didn't get.
It was a killer show from a 40,000 foot perspective. I mean, just the whole thing it was awesome. So it's going to get a solid A. The episode's going to get, I think, a B+ because I really did enjoy it. A couple of our speculations came right. A couple of them Yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't know. We'll see if it was all a production. That was a nice limousine.
Oh,
that was a nice limousine.
Stop. Kevin, what's your... Stop him from talking. Stop him from talking.
So if this episode didn't happen, this probably would have eclipsed WandaVision for me. I was all for with A+. What's that? Oh, eclipse. That's good. Yeah, I meant to do that. It would have eclipsed WandaVision for me, but because of this episode, and I'm not like bringing it down, the show as a whole an A, and this episode is actually a B+. As much as I railed on it, it's still a great episode. It was just a couple of parts that took me out that this show has made me believe that they were going to go a certain way because they did so good everywhere. Yeah. But so yeah, A for the show by far. Good show.
So big surprise, I'm going to be the descending vote here. Now
I'm so shocked.
Now on an entirely, and I'm judging this entirely emotionally. If this show wouldn't have happened, if this episode wouldn't have happened, this would have been my first A+ I've ever given on the show. Because this episode, and it's not that there was anything wrong, it just wasn't right for me. And is what it is. I take the whole thing down to an A-, but this episode, it's a B. And that's the worst of the whole series. Nothing has gotten below an A this entire season for me until this episode. And it's not that they did anything wrong. It just emotionally, I didn't. And then I saw Courtney after she watched it. She was so excited. I'm like, oh, I'm sad. And then Tyler's all excited. I'm like, oh. And then Kevin's all. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not completely on my own here.
I won't go into my wrestling analogy because that's not the time for this. But Tyler hit the nail right on the head. It's one blip too many. It just held it out for too long, and that was it. That's the only thing. But great show.
I actually screamed in excitement a couple of times. One was when Layla came out with her wings, and I literally screamed. It scared Chaplin. Literally screamed, "Tyler's gonna be so happy!"
I did. I didn't scream, but I was thinking of Tyler.
And then when Jake turned around, I went, "Ah!"
Well,
and then there were a couple of moments that got me really excited. So,
with that being said, thanks for going on this journey of Moon Knight with us. We're going to do the Multiverse of Madness coming up next.
Of Madness.
WandaVision
season 2.
And then we should have a couple of our regular episodes coming up soon. So, and I hope you guys are checking out our little short, little Marco Polo episodes we're putting out a couple times a week. They're fun.
And the next Marvel show that we will be doing, I believe, is Miss Marvel.
Yay.
I think that's the next one in line.
I know Kevin's excited.
And
I thought it was She-Hulk first.
No, I am.
No, it's Miss Marvel first.
Yeah.
Dub will not be doing those episodes because I'm not going to let him do those episodes.
Let's be honest, they probably won't get done then, but it's all good.
Right. So if you want to just do if you guys would enjoy the Miss Marvel sans dub, that will be it.
Well, with that being said, check out the website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the we paid extra for it. Go to the Facebook, go to the Twitter, go to the Instagram, go to the everything. Go to the smoke signals, follow us. Do the things. I'm Dub. I'm here with Courtney. We're here with Tyler. We're here with Kevin. Keep on geeking on, guys. We will see you next time.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.